What's up, nerds? Nerd Piece here.
What is the nerd, everyone? Let's talk about One Piece episode 88. So the episode starts off showing like the Mary Joe's castle's 3 gates. So we get a good look at these 3 gates, and then we see that one of these gates specifically leads to the area, the residential area where the celestial dragons live. So we see some soldiers like requesting reinforcements, and the gate opens, and as it opens, Sabo is actually one of those soldiers, hiding in costume, of course, and from here he makes his infiltration into the land of the celestial dragons. So we see him, and he's going around the castle, and he's got like a little camera Den Mushi, and he's taking pictures of like the castle for what looks like a reconnaissance mission. I thought it was kind of funny though, because he's just like, I just wanted to see him like take a selfie like, yep, I was here, but it's not, I don't think selfies exist in One Piece yet. So Sabo goes on to sneak into a room, and then he's confronted by a soldier, and he levels him pretty quickly with his dragon claw, and then he sets him on the door and runs off. And I mean, for a guy that's doing a reconnaissance mission, this is kind of sloppy, because if the enemy finds out, they're gonna know that they've been infiltrated, and they're gonna be on high alert. And it's going to make things a little bit more difficult for them to do a surprise attack, and it seems like that's what they're there to do, and Sabo is just kind of showing like a disregard for this. So anyway, after that we see Vivi and the doctor talking, and then Manchuri is like healing Shirahoshi's wounds, and then Rebecca is kind of like making a joke that they're the biggest and smallest princesses. And then we see Neptune reflecting a little bit on what happened with Mosgard and Sharlos, and he thanks him for stepping in so that he could keep his promise to his wife. So Mosgard goes on to say that he's gonna be looking after Shirahoshi like for the rest of the reverie, and I wonder if the other celestial dragons are gonna try to do something to him because of what he did to Sharlos. Like maybe they'll try like some assassination plot and like try to blame it like on the Mer people and make them look bad. I mean, talk about like a plot twist. But I'm sure that Sharlos isn't gonna give up that easy. Like he's probably, even if it's like a celestial dragon, he's gonna try something. And Leo goes on to ask if he can like beat up a celestial dragon, but say it was under Mosgard's orders, and then he looks kind of nervous, and then he agrees. I mean, I was kind of wondering, is that something like they can actually do? I'm very curious to know what it would be like if like the celestial dragons quarrel among themselves. I mean, we know that they have levels like within the group, and I'm guessing but I wonder about that. So we know the Gorosei are the highest levels, but do they like set their own rules, and like do they have to obey their own rules? I mean, that's a pretty good question, because from what we've seen, Sharlos and Mosgard both have authority over CP0. So I mean, I kind of wonder like it's really interesting to see like which one of them holds more authority. I mean, does it depend on the family you come from, or are they just all equal? I'm assuming it's all equal, because they're the descendants of the first royals that created the world government, so I'm pretty sure it's equal. So it just kind of makes you wonder like what type of laws do they have among themselves, or from what it looks like, they don't have any, and they can just jack each other up, and it's like whoever is stronger, because Mosgard really beat the brakes off of Sharlos when he hit him with that Babe Ruth bat. But anyway, Pell runs up, and he checks on Vivi because he heard there was something going on, and then he lets her know that Cobra is talking with Admiral Fujitora, and apparently Admiral Fujitora actually sent him a letter. So I wonder if Fujitora knew something about him planning on asking the meeting or the celestial dragons about the void century. So we have two people who plan on making waves talking. This will be very interesting. In fact, it was so interesting that Karasu ended up eavesdropping on the conversation. I wonder what'll happen and what Dragon will think when he finds out that Cobra is meeting with Fujitora and the moves they plan on making there. I wonder, I'm thinking he'll probably try to use it to his advantage, and while everybody is in like surprise or in awe, maybe that's when they're going to make their attack, when Cobra and Fujitora bring up these topics and everybody is like has all their attention focused on this, because these things are essentially like taboo. What Cobra wants to say and what Fujitora wants to do by changing the system is pretty unheard of, so that would be a perfect opportunity for them to attack. But anyway, we transition back to Sabo's infiltration, and Sabo takes out 2 more guards, and then he's kind of planning his next move to where he wants to head to next. So he's in the castle, but he wants to go to the Celestial Dragon's residential area. So he breaks a hole in the wall, and then he like jumps out, and he didn't bother trying to hide the bodies of the 2 soldiers he beat up. And Karasu tells Sabo that he's being too reckless, and he asks him if he wants to screw up the whole plan. And then Sabo's kind of like, well, it doesn't matter because we're gonna end up being in a big fight anyway. But I mean, it kind of does if your whole plan is to have the element of surprise. Sabo, what are you doing? So we transition and we see Connie, queen of the Sorbet Kingdom, and she walks up to the gate where the residential area of the Celestial Dragons is, and she's like talking, and they're like, oh no, you can't come here, this is only for the Celestial Dragons. And then we see Sharlos being taken back to the gate, and he says that Mosgard won't get away with what he did. So here we go, it looks like he is going to plan to do something to him. So anyway, his father Roswald comes to meet him, riding on none other than Kuma, and then Connie uses that opportunity to quickly slip in, and we find out that Mosgard doesn't own like any people like the rest of the Celestial Dragons, and apparently they all think he's weird. Interestingly enough, Rosenwald doesn't mention anything about revenge though, so he's clearly not thinking about it, but he does mention that Don Flamingo's dad is kind of like the same, and then he's like, the whole Don Quixote family is crazy. So it appears that the Don Quixote family may have like a reputation for being a little bit different than the other Celestial Dragons. Anyway, we find out that Kuma is actually the former king of the Sorbet Kingdom. So we see Sabo, and he's infuriated, and we also find out that the Celestial Dragons rent people, and this is probably something they do for people that have big reputations that get caught. And so we see Sabo, and he's like fired up, his hands are on fire, and he's ready to go and attack Roswald. All of a sudden, Karasu and Marley take him and bring him into like the little underground space that they're hiding in. And Sabo, he's showing like a lot of recklessness. I mean, it's clear that they're gonna have to like keep an eye on Sabo, because Sabo will let his emotions get the better of him. And they mention that they're going to have the world's greatest doctor take a look at Sharlos. And I wonder, are they talking about Dr. Hogback? Did he have like connections to the Celestial Dragons? So then we see Connie, and she's surprised to see Kuma, and Connie changes into Jewelry Bonnie, and she says like infiltration successful. So it kind of makes you wonder a little bit, is she connected with the Revolutionary Army, or is she here doing her own thing? But since we've never seen her with the Revolutionary Army, I think it's a little bit too soon to try to draw a conclusion, but it does seem like they have similar goals, maybe, unless, because she says that she didn't think she would see Kuma so quickly, so that lets us know that there is steps that she has planned for her infiltration. So she definitely has something going on. Whether she's connected to the Revolutionary Army or not, only time will tell. So we come to find out that the Celestial Dragons purposely made an example of Kuma, the former king of the Sorbet Kingdom, a affiliate nation, to set an example to the people that no matter how high your position or status is when it comes to the Celestial Dragons, you do not have the juice. And apparently there is no way to bring Kuma back to the way he used to be from what Karasu said. So there's a lot of interesting things going on in the Reverie right now, and I can't wait to see more things unfold, how Dragon is going to attack and what Jewelry is planning, and if they have a connection. I'm really interested to see what's going on there. I mean, there's so much going on here, like with Cobra and Fujitora too, and for all we know there could be something else going on, like underneath these parties. There might be another party planning something for all we know. But anyway, leave a comment and let us know what you think.
And don't forget to subscribe, nerds.